Wow. And do we have a loving, friendly person on our show? My name is Michael Coran. I'm your host. And this is Michelle Scow. Or on my iPhone, it's Michelle, say it again, Shue. That's what they call you on my iPhone.
Okay.
And we're going to be talking for the next hour and a half. Stay with us. Please, you get a special reward. Just write in about the story of Abraham in the Bible. Abraham hears a voice that the Bible says is God or Yahweh. And the voice he hears says, all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. I think that's true for everybody, actually. Maybe, right? We bless whoever we're working with or living with or interacting with. I
If
think.
we can be our best self.
If we can be our best self.
Actually, maybe even when we do bad things, uh,
So,
gifts in disguise.
gifts in disguise. So remember, if I have hurt you, I am a gift in disguise. I just was recently. I had a great time with someone and then didn't really acknowledge it. So, when should we ask, since this is love and friendship? Either, you have a choice here, and you could do neither, just ask me. When have you received a gift in disguise, and when have you been a gift in disguise?
Okay.
And you
Well, I
could,
think of a roommate I used to have difficulty with. That might have been. I wish it wasn't so intense because that was. It definitely was traumatic in some regards, but. However, I did learn more about what my triggers are, and it was humbling to realize the extent of what she really needed and I couldn't give. So in that way, it was a gift in disguise, and I have been a gift in disguise.
oh, let's wait for the
Yeah.
first one though, and you can ask me too if I
Yeah.
don't want to put you on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Would a specific example come to mind of how she was a gift in disguise?
Oh, well, I think what comes to mind is when she would come into the kitchen, she would apologize and say she just needed to use the toaster oven, which was like 15 feet away from me. And so this triggered me because I now realize for me, I mean, I think it would probably kind of annoy anyone, especially since I had multiple talks with her that this was her kitchen too, and she didn't need to apologize. She could just use the toaster oven. And, but what I realized in digging into my past and myself, that I was in a tension-filled household, and when my mom remarried, and the stepchildren really didn't like her, and that she didn't know really how to cope with that situation, and there really was no room for any of my feelings either, and so often, so it's the feeling of having someone not comfortable around me. So often I think I felt in high school that my mom wasn't particularly comfortable with me, and it, represented some of my unexpressed emotions. And living in a household
What represented some of your unexpressed emotions?
that my mom wasn't very comfortable with me.
And how was that? Oh, because you weren't comfortable either in this new setting? I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, probably I had a lot of, discomfort and, some anger. And so, I remember my mom driving and her finger going like this. And so I would just look at her finger and I'd be like, oh my God, just stop.
Stop.
But she was anxious.
Oh.
It was a twitch
Yeah.
thing that she was doing and wasn't comfortable with me, and there was just a lot of disconnect. So having someone in the house that just wasn't comfortable to be in the same room with me really was a trigger for me, and I guess I didn't realize the extent for me of how much I was reacting.
And so in some way it was a gift to reveal that to you.
Yeah, to dig back in and say, oh yeah, I guess it made me realize how much uncomfortable it was with my mom, and how that contributed to some of the disconnect in our relationship.
With your roommate? With your mother
My
too?
roommate reflected that for me, and I got to understand my dynamic more.
Oh, I see.
And my difficulty more how I get triggered easily if people might not be willing to handle or listen to me. Because I felt like she really wasn't comfortable with that.
So how did the listen? I'm just trying to understand this. Thank you for sharing this, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that this roommate, we'll call her Sarah, if that's all right.
Okay.
Sarah, when she walks into the kitchen and goes to the toaster, says, sorry if I'm disturbing you. And it's her kitchen as well as yours. And so that brings up in you some feeling of you and your mother being uncomfortable with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That, including that, that's even and that helps you at least understand who you are, that you're triggered easily when someone's uncomfortable being with you. Boy, I'm so glad we're friends. I'm not exactly Mr. Comfortable myself. I am learning with your help, hugely. So that's a gift to know that. And then what do you do about it? Once you discover this. My beloved mother said all the inside in the world isn't worth a hill of beans unless you do something about it.
Yeah. Well, for my current relationship with my mom, it is revealing to realize maybe some of her limitations, and to maybe have a little more feeling rather than just shut down and disconnect, but to have some emotion around realizing that her limitations contributed to our disconnect and my shutting down. So I hope that it might help me in my relationships, including with my mother, but also with other people, to realize how important it is for me to be heard and and how I get triggered if people aren't comfortable with, they express some discomfort.
Oh, so heard means also just receive, not necessarily words, but if I'm understanding you correctly, if she's able to receive being with you in a comfortable way.
Yeah, for me to exist, like walk around and not just because of who I am and what I'm doing in regular life, that I'm not, I represent something more to that person.
Well, this is amazing for
So-
me to hear. I had a friend who died, Richard Freed. Thank you, Richard. And Richard was one of these rare friends who would love to analyze my personality for me, not in a critical way. And he said to me one day, Michael, your only hope is to be comfortable with the fact that you're always going to be uncomfortable. So this is amazing for me to hear, because I'm an uncomfortable guy. I try so hard to be good because I'm so bad. I have so much anger and hatred and fear and trauma. So I really tried to be helpful and good. It was very confusing to people. I'd be this helpful, good person, and then as one of my dear friends who only writes to me now, because doesn't want to interact in other ways, said, but other stuff leaks out, Michael. So it's amazing we're friends. Consider, and now that I'm learning after, this is our 9th year, was it our 10th year starting?
I think
We met in 2010.
2010.
So it's 1 year, 2011. We've known each other 9 years.
Yeah.
And finally, you can't rush these things, maybe beginning to be more comfortable. Thanks to you bringing up when I say things that make you uncomfortable, which is great. What a
Right.
gift. And I learned to listen and not use my intellect to tell you how I'm smarter than you. And how dare you say that, which I would have in the past. Wow.
Well, and I've learned, you've helped me learn to notice that word things not as a blame. You didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, we both learned that from nonviolent. You taught me that. From
Yeah, but you
nonviolent
really helped me with that a lot, because that's my default when I'm defensive, is to find leverage
Me too.
to
Wow, I was
make sure
great.
the person's wrong
Yes.
really bad.
Yes. Yes.
Because
You're bad.
then I have a leverage to say, be okay to say what I need.
Oh, because you're so bad, I can tell you how bad you are. Is that it?
It's some huge guilt trip.
On the other person?
Yeah, like shame guilt trip. It's
Yes.
like really using
I did
it
that
for
too.
leverage.
Oh, I
like,
used to love that.
like,
I used to-
oh, you're just so bad. You're just terrible.
yeah.
Like,
I had my own poem song, which scares people actually. It's called Nobody's Perfect. You know it. You helped me write it. Stranger to the human race, I'm always losing face. I'm baser than the base, a disgrace to be erased. And I thought I was playing around when I was writing this. Well, nobody's perfect, but it is truer than I thought. So this is really amazing that I, who am as uncomfortable as a person could be, especially trying to be good and having so much anger inside, right? I really didn't care about anybody, so I wanted to be a good person and try to care, be kind, and the rest of me said that that's not who you are. And it made it in some ways worse, because there's such a split between who I would like to be and who I was. And so that's not very comfortable. At least if I could have been like someone said of one of the Psalms in the Bible, you've heard the Psalm, yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. But someone else wrote, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because I'm the toughest son of a bitch in the valley. And that was more my... So that was hard. Maybe, thanks to you, maybe we're getting more comfortable. Because you can tell me when I do things that make you uncomfortable now. We wouldn't do that in the past. Right? We wouldn't do that. We would just, close down, probably judge. And you've helped me when I feel like I'm attacking myself or in my mind or others. I can tell you now. I don't have to say hi. Nice weather we're having. And meanwhile, no, a human being, a woman, help. See, now you laugh. It is so freeing not to. Oh. So that's helpful. I can share with you that I'm uncomfortable. And maybe with other people, but at least it's hard. My roommate asked me how I was the other day. I said, not well. He didn't know how to handle it.
Well, I did, it was nice, I took a course called the Owner's Manual where it did a lot of self-reflection and looked at relationships and stuff like that. And it shared about how much vulnerability is linked to intimacy, and really if you can be vulnerable, it can really open the doors to being close. It's a real doorway oftentimes. I'll share, I'll collect the videos.
Oh, yeah, no, and now what would be an example?
Of vulnerability, sharing.
I mean, I've been going to internal family systems, as you know, therapy for 11 years with this wonderful therapist called Deborah Block. I guess she knows about blocking and how to unblock, I hope. Maybe I should call her Deborah Unblock. Or maybe she's an expert at blocks, so it's perfect for me. I just forgot. Oh, so internal family systems, thanks to you, you sent this to me, this video, says that we have protectors, like my anger, my real anger at myself and others. This is my first day with my therapist, 11 years ago. She said, how are you feeling? And I somehow was honest. I said, I feel like taking a sledgehammer and banging these walls down. She could have asked me to leave. I'm sorry, I don't think this is the place for you. Instead, she says, shall we go into a bigger room? So she honored, which I wasn't used to, she honored my sledgehammer feeling. And then we're sitting in this new room, and she says, well, how do you feel in this new room? Is there anything you feel moved to tell me? And I say, this is really true story. Fuck you. That's one of my voices. And she says, are you getting any lately? And I say, no. And that's how we began 11 years of therapy. Now I'm bad because I can tell these stories. I think I'm finally learning to not have them just be stories and to feel them. Because I would I'd block in my walls by telling a fun story and not feeling both the sadness, the vulnerability, I'm not sure the vulnerability, I'm not even sure what to say, but I could feel it now. I could go time travel back 11 years ago and feel that. And I guess if I'm really feeling it and feel a little like crying, that's vulnerable. Yes, is that true? Is that vulnerable? I don't know what I'm risking, because we might not want to put this on YouTube. So the audience is probably small. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Gail. We used to have someone watch from West Virginia, but she lost her receptivity to. You could stream this. You who are watching, tell all your friends all over the world. Go to CambridgeCommunityTelevision.org and it's going to be streamed live. So is that vulnerable if I'm feeling it now? And I'm not in control, telling a clever story?
Yeah, I would think that's definitely one piece of being vulnerable.
And feel like I want to cry
Yeah,
and not know why.
that's definitely,
And not know why.
yeah, that's vulnerable. And I think it frees up energy. People know it when you're,
Yeah, they do.
yeah,
They really respond when you're honest,
yeah.
if you don't offend them.
Right, I know, it's a little tricky.
Yes, to do both. So internal family systems,
Yeah,
we only have 4.5 more minutes, but
Okay.
we're going to be back for another hour, and I know you're riveted and will not leave us. That internal family system says the anger or the clever storytelling is a protector, protecting me certainly, and other people who identify, from what we really need, which for me would be, among other things, tender loving care, TLC. And I try to get people to love the performer who's telling the clever story. And I would kind of be hiding behind the story, so I would really, I get a moment, but really, really receive their love, which I needed so badly, and thought I could do it, get at least some semblance of it by telling a funny story.
well, probably the level that you risk, the level you get back, maybe, I don't know.
And so now I want to tell the stories, the same stories, honestly. And I think I can ask, I would love your tender loving care for me, or your love for me. And I can manage if it doesn't happen. I used to try to. Someone once summed up my first 5 years of teaching at the Cambridge Center. So I want to sum it up in 1 word, 2 words, Michael, what you've been communicating to students for 5 years. Love me, but not directly. So internal family system says that the anger or the clever story we should appreciate them. They did protect us. And maybe they protected
And the
us.
shutdown, or the shutdown too,
Oh, when
is a way of protecting.
when I feel
I'm just
dead,
thinking
yes,
when-
depressed, dead, don't feel like doing anything. Well, we've come a long way from but we're saying the same thing. So when you feel uncomfortable because other people feel uncomfortable, you might have a protector and a need to feel comfortable, right? Which is scary, and especially with people like that. Unless,
Yeah, need for me to express or just go about my daily life, like cook in the kitchen and not be interfered by someone that doesn't feel. Like, just trust, because it must trigger some sort of other stuff. It does. You know, the whole thing of someone, you know, when I want them to feel comfortable and they're not, and part of it has to do with me.
maybe you could, like my friend Richard, be comfortable with the fact that you're uncomfortable. Like for
Right.
starters,
Yeah.
instead of I don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yes, I would
Well,
listen.
and also it's letting the other person, let them have their own stuff.
You let them, yes.
You know, that just to remember, you know, I'm not perfect and I shouldn't expect someone else to be
Wow.
perfect. And I get through, you know, my trials and tribulations, and hopefully the other person, you know, I can send well wishes and hope, you know, wish them well.